Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! When I worked in Boston, I used to take the commuter rail in. There was a small lot that was not an MPTA lot, which imputed the pay to $2 per day lot that the MPTA ran. For 5 years, I parked in a small lot with several other regulars, including the MPTA conductors who all wanted to save $500 to $600 per year. One day, I pulled into the lot and discovered that there is a padlock on the gate which has been chained shut. I see Dave, our regular conductor for the 7:25 a.m., just clicking the lock home and roll down my window and ask him, "Hey Dave, what gives? New policy. Only MPTA employees can park here now." The lot was small, and when we regulars parked there, some of the conductors and other sundry trained people had to pay. I grumble and dig for change, which is composed of nickels and dimes left over from fast food purchases. Quarters were for tolls. On the way home, I stopped at a CVS in Boston and picked up my own padlock. I get to the lot, and instead of rushing with the rest of the cattle to our cars, I confidently walk over to the gate of the little free lot and place my lock, to which only I have the keys, on the chain. The conductors do not get to their cars until after the turnaround and cursory cleanup happens. I live at the end of the line. The next morning, I see that the gate is wide open. My lock has been pulled, cut, and is laying on the ground under a no longer used chain. I park, Conductor Dave is getting out of his car, and we exchange the nod, and I walk with him to the platform. Other regulars are pulling in and getting out of their cars now, along with the other MPTA folks that are there in time to snag a free spot. So, what happened to the new policy? I innocently asked Dave. "Too much trouble," he says. "Besides, I think the laundromat actually owns the land and they got mad and locked us in last night. Had to go find pole cutters to get out." Do tell, Dave, do tell. For the next 2 years that I worked in Boston, nary a problem. Total savings? $3,500. Screwing the MPTA? Priceless. Edit. Since it seems to be a point of contention, the lot is an open dirt lot that it turns out actually was owned by the laundromat next door who didn't care who parked there. The new policy was one that was implemented by the MPTA employees informally, and not one which was official. This was not an employee lot and was as fair game to me and the other people who knew this as well as the MPTA folks. Hope that clears things up. This happened 2009 after I had been discharged from the Marines and was looking for work back home. I landed a job working contract plainclothes loss prevention in Washington State at various grocery stores. The one I was working at on this particular day has the initials from Queen's furry coat. Should be pretty obvious. As plainclothes loss prevention, we always work in pairs because some of these instances can get violent. Anyway, here it goes. Me, 6 foot, 240 pounds, heavily tattooed Pacific Islander, former Marine infantry with a short timber for stability. My partner, the meth head thief, and the law enforcement officer 1 and 2, and the paramedic. Well, we got called to work the 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. shift at this particular grocery store because this is the time of the week a lot of deliveries are made, so management is busy processing the incoming shipments. And also, the local college down the road is about to start their 7 a.m. class. A lot of college kids and business people are coming in and out of the store getting their S-Bucks and breakfast for the morning. My partner posts up by the entrance, wearing a backpack to look like a college kid and a hoodie in order to hide his badge and handcuffs. I take a post inside the dairy cooler. Yes, we hide in there because it gives us a commanding view of all the high theft aisles without being seen. This day, I'm on my phone with my partner who is notifying me of anyone that looks suspicious when a vendor walks in with 2 carts from the store. My partner asks me, Hey OP, doesn't the vendor in the khaki pants and the maroon polo look familiar? I respond that yes he does, and to give me a second while I look through our little flip book of ORC, Organized Retail Crime Suspects. I look at him and the picture and see the same tattoo on his neck as in the picture. I inform my partner of this and tell him we'll keep an eye on him and stop him as soon as he clears the entrance with merchandise. State law states an item isn't considered stolen until they pass all the points of sale and break the plane of the entrance, making no attempt to purchase said item. Now this guy isn't big, nor is he small. So the pants that he was wearing seemed way too big for him, and he was also walking with an exaggerated limp. This is important. Well, he pulls out a folder and heads immediately for the deli department, where they just received a ship of meat. Steaks, prime rib, ribs, pork chops, chicken, lamb, and so on. He has a deli counter attendant who just got there and was just another part-time college kid paying for his way through school. He hands him a letter, which we found out later was a fake notice with the vendor's name on the letterhead that this shipment of meat was tainted and he was there to take possession and return it to them, and that a refunded bill of sale will be provided once he has loaded it up. The kid wasn't too sure about this, so he went to go find the manager. That's when things went south quick, fast, and in a hurry. As soon as the kid was gone, this guy pulled out a pair of bolt cutters from his pants and cut the lock on the meat cooler and began to load up the carts with as much meat as he could. These baskets were overflowing. When he heads back towards the entrance, he sees my partner looking at him. This is what they said to each other. Are you store security? No. If you are, you have to tell me. Why do they always assume that we have to tell them? No man, I'm just waiting on my buddy to get here so we can go to class. The guy looks skeptical but finally accepting the response. Okay. Well, do you want to make $100 helping me load this into my car? For real? Sure. Why not? Keep in mind that my partner has been on the phone with me this whole time, so I heard the whole exchange. I make my way out of the dairy cooler and run outside to back up my partner when we confront this guy. This guy has the back of his station wagon open, about to load everything in when I come around and put my badge in his face. I say, "Store security, you'll have to come with us." "Freaking lying jerks, I will kill you." He reaches in and grabs a long screwdriver. He swings a haymaker with a screwdriver, trying to stab my partner in the head. Fortunately, my partner sees it coming and ducks and rolls out of the way. He swings backhanded this time towards my chest, where I promptly put those hand-to-hand compact skills to use. I grabbed his forearm with one hand, triceps with the other, and brought his elbow down as I brought my right knee up and broke his arm. At which point he dropped the screwdriver and began to scream in pain while grasping his arm and rolling on the ground. Cops were called by management, and when they got there, asked what was going on, while guns are drawn because all they saw was two guys standing over someone in a lot of pain on the ground. The first police officer asks, "What the hell happened here?" And my partner tells him, "That jerk tried to stab me in the head with a screwdriver." The second police officer, recognizing that jerk, "I've arrested you before. Looks like you're not getting out this time." This might be grand larceny and, at the very least, attempted murder. Turns out he had a warrant out for his arrest for cooking and selling meth as well. One of the officers says, "We will get paramedics out here to stabilize him before we process him." 10 minutes later, the jerk has passed out from pain. The paramedic asks, "Who did this?" "I did, sir." I answer him, "Well, you definitely knew right where to do it. I doubt if this guy will ever gain full functionality of this arm again." After going to court several times, found out he is spending 25 to life in prison because apparently some people had succumbed to meth overdose because of what this guy cooked, and that the attempted murder charge was just icing on the cake. And before anyone asks, the reason why the meat theft could be great larceny is because the meat hadn't been cut up for sale yet and was in full slabs, making it more expensive by the pound, which is how the store priced the items for the prosecution. The total came out to just north of $7,000. Apparently, he was going to sell some of it along with his mess. That's a seasoning I wouldn't want to try. This is a pretty old story, and it happened back in 2018 when I used to work as a junior watchmaker and salesperson for one of the largest malls in Fiji. So during Christmas Eve, this lady, who seemed like she was in her late 40s or early 50s, came rushing up to me with a torn piece of our promotional catalog and asked me if we had the white gold men's bracelet available. As I was working for the watch department, I clearly did not have any knowledge of the availability of the item, so I said, "Madam, I am not going to be able to confirm that. May I direct you to the jewelry department?" While showing her to the jewelry department, which is like 5 meters away from the department I work at, where 4 of my colleagues were waiting to serve her. I don't know what happened, but this woman started screaming at the top of her voice, saying that I'm a VIP customer, how dare you tell me to go elsewhere to check for the item? It is your job to run and check if it's available or is not. You kids nowadays do not want to do your job and make the customers run around. After which I explained to her that currently I'm alone at this department because a senior staff went to check on the new deliveries and therefore cannot leave the booth that I was in, and recommending that she checks with the department in charge of it was the best course of action. She did not seem to care at this point and started screaming for the level manager at the exact moment at which the head of the department I was working for arrived and asked what had happened. I explained the situation and the manager apologized on my behalf and told her that I was doing the best to keep the customer service going as the mall is full during Christmas. After which she made it clear that she wanted me fired for not prioritizing her, a VIP customer, over others. The department head, who is a lady who is in her late 50s and has clearly had enough of these kind of customers working at the company for over 20 years, said to the customer that no customer is valued more than the other. All customers are treated equally and that the company doesn't believe in VIP customers. The entitled woman then tells us that her son works at a higher position at the mall and that she'd have me in my department head's job for treating her that way. Few weeks go by and I get transferred to the MAC department as a junior makeup artist. Keep in mind, Fiji is a very conservative country and boys like myself, Indian, choppy and bearded, doing anything related to makeup was a weird thing. Everything was going great in life. I was happy that I had been recognized for my artistic skills by an international company. For your information, MAC only had 2 booths in the entire country. Until the day that same entitled woman comes over to the MAC department to buy some products for a New Year's party. One of my colleagues was attending to her at first until the batch of customers from the monthly Chinese cruise ship came in, and she was the only one who could fluently speak Mandarin and Cantonese, so naturally she asked me to provide assistance to the entitled woman. And as I was trying to be as professional as possible, I said gladly. Over when the entitled woman realized that I'm a boy, and the same boy from the previous incident had a dramatic change in her facial expressions. She seemed standoffish and asked her, "What can I help you with, madam?" To which she said, "I want to look as beautiful as possible for a New Year's party I have been invited to." Does the party have a theme, or would you like me to recommend whatever that suits you the best? Whatever, as long as I don't look like a sick boy. Okay, madam, these are some of the products I have picked out for you which I think might enhance your beauty. Would you like to try them on? Yeah, sure. I proceeded to get clean brushes from the storage compartment of our display cases and apply primer, foundation, contouring and so on, and completed the look with all the products which were added to her basket. She seemed pleased with what I had presented. She asked me to pack all the products worth 540 Fijian dollars, around 270 US dollars, to which I added and proceeded to the cash counter where she paid for the liquid foundation and compact powder foundation and not the other products. She said it's okay, her son will pay for the rest, and tried to walk off with the products, to which I said, "You can only take the items if you have completely paid for them." And I calmly asked for her to return the products if she doesn't plan on paying for them, to which she says, "My son is a branch manager. I should be getting these for free." As I was done with her lies, I asked her to call her son. This triggered an intense rage, and she threw the bag of cosmetics against the counter, breaking them, and then throwing her handbag at me. Huge mistake, lady. I was not one to take abuse from a random lady, and I called the security, and in accordance with our policy, she was promptly banned from our malls. She sometimes still attempts to shop at our stores, and it's actually embarrassing to watch. Justice served. Years ago, I lived in a coastal city and became friends with a guy who owned a boat. He kept his boat docked near a popular tourist area, and the garage he used was often full due to the crowds. As a slip owner, he had a pass that would give him priority at a private garage entrance, so he could skip the lines and be more certain of getting a parking spot. This is not uncommon for private garages that offer monthly passes or passes to employees. Also, due to the crowds, this garage had a computer that would count the number of cars going in and the cars going out. It would not let any vehicles into the garage if there were no spots available. One day, my friend used his pass to get into the garage, knowing it was nearly full. After doing a full lap of all levels, he realized the only remaining spot was next to an older crap brown metallic Corvette with vanity plates that have parked about a foot over the line. Well, sucks to be that guy. My friend pulled his little SUV in, blocking the driver's door of the vet. After all, parking is scarce, and this guy didn't pay for 2 spots. Pity revenge. Later that night, after a day on the water, he returned to find that the Corvette owner apparently didn't like having his door blocked and retaliated by keying the side of my friend's Cherokee. He filed a claim, lost his deductible, and got the side of his Jeep repainted. About a year later, he bought another boat and was working to restore the cabin. He drives into the garage as he always does and starts looking for a spot. When what does he see? The same crap brown Corvette with the same vanity plate. Well, the heavens were certainly thinking of justice today. He got out of his Jeep and opened the tailgate to peruse a plethora of instruments that were at his disposal. After all, he had a boatload of tools to restore his old boat. Screwdriver? Not much you can do with that. Hammer? Too cliché. Belt sander? No power cable. Battery-powered nail gun? Folks, we have a winner. A few quick minutes later, the fiberglass body of the Corvette was perforated by nails. Just putting nails through body panels is hardly fair to the nail gun. After all, nails are supposed to connect things together. They must fulfill their purpose. We wouldn't want those nails to suffer an existential crisis, would we? So the doors, hood, boot lid, pop-up headlights, and even the fuel cap were all nailed shut. Simply do not screw with another man's ride. Revenge will be served, and it may be very cold indeed. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.